We are in a capacity building program, currently cohort 8, where we support the displaced professionals, people in career transition, expatriated families, refugees, those who are looking for the new opportunities and a way how they can actually reintegrate themselves in the job market, starting entrepreneurship, seeing the opportunities among other people in the workplace on how to succeed. And I'm very happy to welcome today Isabelita Castillo, who is one of our job coaches and a very professional and experienced coach, sharing plenty of insights and experience and knowledge on the very challenging job journey. Welcome, Isabelita.
Thank you very much, Ina. It's really a pleasure to be here today and to share some value with your community.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining. Thank you for finding time. I know we are in a different time zone, but I also know that whatever you're doing in job search and job coaching area doesn't literally have the borders, right? And we work with
Absolutely.
many different geographies. I would probably go straight to the point and ask you, get ready, very challenging question. We've been asked that question every program we are doing for the displaced professionals, and I cannot say that I have one single clear answer on the opinion on that. So what I would like to start with and to get your opinion on open to work feature that people are using on LinkedIn. And again, some says that this is something that doesn't really help, and others say that this helps, especially when you are in the urgency for the job search, highlight you in the market to increase the visibility. From your experience, what are the real pros and cons of using open to work sign in LinkedIn?
Thank you so much for this question. It's actually a very challenging decision. But indeed, I can tell you based on my experience that if I have to say yes or no, I would say it's a no. And I will give you the reasons, right? So when somebody has the badge open to work that has this, this green kind of aura that is given by LinkedIn label, it immediately identifies as somebody probably not working at the moment, somebody that probably has less value to the market. A lot of judgments start, assumptions start, right? And as soon as these candidates start reaching out to recruiters, headhunters, potential hiring managers, the first thing they see is the badge. This is the first impression, and this is the very first message. I'm open to work, and unfortunately, it can come across a little bit as desperate, right? This is the first reason of why not to. The second reason is because, especially if they are not on the high senior levels, especially if they are already going for the C-suite, which is the chief executives or aspiring chief executives, vice presidents, and vice presidents, usually the executive search firms that are retained by their clients, the future employers of those candidates, are specifically told to don't get to meet people that are looking for jobs. It's very, let's say, unfair in a way, but this is the truth, because they are paying those executive search firms to identify the most busy, the most unavailable, possibly candidates. So they can actually bring the best of the best based on the judgment of the future employer. So coming across as if I'm looking for a job and I'm available, please talk to me, please look at me looking for a job, it becomes a little bit of less valuable. And even if some recruiters would still, of course, interact with those people, they know that, okay, we can offer them much less because they are looking for a job, they are open, they are without a job. So ideally, do not put they're looking for work, because you will not miss out on any recruiter getting in touch with you. They will still get in touch with you, if anything, even more if you are a bit less available, because they want the best of the best for their clients, so which is the next employer. So I would say it's no, don't put it.
Very clear, and I share this opinion obviously with you for the same reasons. There is a delusion of equity, you as the product or the proposition on the market, but also that I didn't think about that as well. And Isabelita, thank you for bringing this up in terms of salary negotiations. Is actually the devaluation of the package could be in place as well because of the silly considerations of being urged in the job market and why you've been so long in the job market if you have good credentials, right? So pros and cons are there. Thank you so much. The next question I will ask, because actually what you said in terms of working LinkedIn, the potential candidates and the recruiters. And I know that you work closely with both. You coach people on how to find a job, but you work also with the recruiters on how to bring them the best candidates and to place people in the job as soon as possible, especially when we are talking about mid and top level talents. What are the key elements of a LinkedIn profile? And whoever is watching us now, please mind, Isabelita will be one of our guest speakers and job coach talking about the LinkedIn as the platform that actually anchor and brings attention to your profiles from the side of recruiters. Don't miss that event. So going back to my question, Isabelita, what are the key elements of a LinkedIn profile that makes someone stand out in the eyes of recruiter specifically?
Okay, excellent question, actually. So I would say, first, of course, think this way. Think that LinkedIn is your, in the past, we would use postcards a lot, right? So this is your postcard. This is your front page. This is the first impression. So the very first impression is what? Your photo. That's the very first thing. So have a professional photo, have a photo that comes across that you are approachable, you are actually representing the image of that profession that you want to have or that you're going for the next job. So if you're looking for a position that is very senior, then represent that senior person, dress accordingly, have a smile, have a clear photo, right? Don't have a partner on the photo with you, don't have a pet. Believe it or not, I still see that, and senior people sometimes think it's okay. It's not a Facebook, right? Think about LinkedIn profile as your website in a way. You know, it's different than a social media like Facebook or Instagram or other social medias out there where everything is so casual and everything is about very. But this is really your professional, quote unquote, website. So, how do you want your website to represent you? So, have a great photo, have a great banner. There is a banner, the image that goes in the back of your photo, and that should be like a little bit of the decor of your house, of the colors of your postcard, the colors of your business card, if you mean, if you will, right? So, in other words, this is the first impression, the visuals. Now, of course, this is just the beginning of the story. Then you have a headline. So the headline is the sentence that is limited to 300 characters that goes right under your name. So avoid using job titles alone. People make these mistakes. So they will say, for instance, sales director at Google. Well, that will limit them so much to being contacted only for sales director roles and in the tech companies. So if this person is looking for something totally different, he wants to pivot to a different industry or maybe even a different job, then avoid using the job titles and the association to the companies that they are no longer pursuing. So then what should be the headline? Well, the headline is really your, in one sentence, who you are, right? So who you are, well, what you offer, what is your value proposition? And I'll give a tip here. I know it's so hard to make a headline. Go to ChatGPT, go to Claude AI, any of the best and any AI tool free available online. Copy paste your entire CV or even your entire LinkedIn profile if it's ready. Say, help me create a good headline, but not just key skills, because usually the AI will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 key skills and does not really represent a value proposition, just the key skills. So avoid putting key skills on the headline and really make it a sentence. What do you offer? What will they get by talking to you? Right? Not just by the job title, but what does the company get? So this is the headline. And then we have the about session and we have the experience session. Now, the about session should be something that summarizes everything the person has done, right? It's not just a lot of nice words and avoid, guys, avoid the copy paste from AI. You know, have as an idea, but remove, make your own words, read, take as an idea, but don't directly copy paste. It's obvious those days, especially with all those emojis. You know, it's so obvious. It loses authenticity. right? So be authentic, and basically clarity. Clarity is key. It doesn't need to be the most sophisticated profile, but clarity. If you're reading as an external person, when you read, do you really understand what this person has done? Think this way. Ask yourself, is it clear what I do, or is it only to myself? Right? So the clarity, the about session should be clear. And you have to add 5 skills that it can be incorporated under the about session. So those 5 key skills will become algorithms, and even anything that's written in your entire LinkedIn, any words become algorithms. What does that mean? When recruiters are searching, they have the recruiter search tool. Usually they do, most of them. They will say, okay, I want candidates that have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skills. Let's say transformation, digitalization, let's say sales or marketing. So make sure those words appear as your top 3 skills. Because if it's not there, it's not about it's obvious. Well, it can be obvious when somebody is already reading, but to land to your profile in a search and become listed by LinkedIn as one of the top candidates based on those keywords, make sure they appear, right? So this is the way to have a great LinkedIn that makes you be found. But once you're found, of course, you should make sure that you are being reached out to. So I don't know if I answered this question, if you want me to continue, or we're going to have another question that complements this.
I have another insight that complement this, and I'm so glad that you mentioned about the use of artificial intelligence tools. I'm hiring a lot in Bevel On. This is the social impact movement. We welcome mentors, trainers, operational team supporters to the association, and I'm hiring a lot. And honestly speaking, when I see the motivational letter made by ChatGPT, and as you rightly said, Isabelita, it's so obvious these days. And the post with emojis in this fast-pacing world, everyone is starting. I scroll it, or the motivational letter I close, because I see that there is no human authentic touch there, and it just automatically generated message that I'm not interested in. Right? And that also from the behavioral perspective, I see that the person is not really dedicating time to think what he or she would like to say, instead of just briefing the machine learning to deliver something. And it's not to disregard the effort of artificial intelligence. I'm using personally, even in the professional and personal setting, I'm using a lot to optimize my time, because I'm pretty busy as the person, right? But I always keep attention what exactly I'm saying. And even for the insight about the using of LinkedIn, I'm the thought leader. I have a big followers base, Isabelita, same as you do. And I even did the experiment. The moment I copy paste, I programmed the post in ChatGPT, and the moment I paste it as it is in LinkedIn, even algorithm doesn't react on that. More I'm writing with my own words and telling the story, I have a lot of impressions from the posts I'm making. Be mindful about that. But talking about the artificial intelligence and digital world, etc., I would like to bring the discussion with you into more human to human relations. And here we are talking about building the relations with recruiters to be seen, right? And to be approached. And this is not about the digital, this is about human to human. And what we hear quite often from the participants of our programs is say, I feel I will be perceived as pushy. How comes I'm approaching the recruiter directly, and what should I say, that I'm looking for the job or what? So you often talk about the building these relations with the recruiters as the, again, job coach, career transition advisor, in your posts and the content you deliver to people who are looking for the job. How can someone who's looking for a job initiate meaningful conversation and without this side feeling of being pushy or entering uncomfortable?
Okay, well, I really love this topic because I feel that there is a lot of taboo out there, right? So the first taboo that I want to demystify is to say that when people reach out to recruiters, they think they are bothering them, and that they are actually, being begging something. Well, let me take a step back here. what is the role of a recruiter or an executive search consultant, which is basically similar with some differences for another conversation, but somehow what they need candidates. So every candidate for a job is a product, quote unquote, that they don't have available in-house. So that's why they are searching. Now imagine, I have been there. I have worked as a recruiter before I became a career transition advisor. And I can tell you that searching for candidates online, trying to identify the right people, having a number of candidates to present to the final client, it's much more hard work. It's much more tedious than looking for a job. I can guarantee that. Because many times it was very hard to find those candidates. And when found, they would say not interested, or they would ghost me as a recruiter. So, in fact, this is what I want to say. If you are the candidate looking for a job and you are approaching the right recruiters, when I mean the right recruiters, and we'll talk a little bit what does it mean, you are doing them a big favor, guys. You are doing them a big favor. You are saving them hours and hours of researching for the right candidate for a position that they need to introduce to their clients. You are the product, but how do they know you are there? And how do you do that? So the very first thing is, it's really understand it's a win-win. If you become the right product, the role of a recruiter is a matchmaker, right? So they are matching positions with candidates. So win-win for the recruiter and the candidate, so they can go to the employer's interview. And of course, a win-win-win because the employer is trying to fulfill a position, unless otherwise he would not be, hiring a recruiter to do that. Right. So we demystify that. There was nothing to worry. If anything, it's a favor. I would say it's more of a favor of a candidate reaching out to a recruiter than vice versa. Okay, so this is the first thing. However, the way to approach again has to be succinct, has to be delicate, has to be polite, and above all, use names. How many times have I seen people sending me messages and saying, "Hi, sir." Oh, wow. That's the first thing that makes me not even look at the rest. No, "Hi, sir," or even "Hi, madam." Wow, no, people have names. And people will don't want to think that you're copy pasting messages and send the same thing to everybody. So quality, much more of a priority than volume. Okay, so who should we reach out to and how do we reach out? Well, there is a way to identify. Happy to share with you later on in a link I have for one of my videos. I do a full demonstration in YouTube, so you can share with the community where how do you identify the right recruiters. So let's say now you have a pipeline of recruiters, right? So they are within your sector, they are within your function, so they are definitely a possible match to you as a candidate, right? So now understand. So let's give a hypothetical example. We have a recruiter called John. So, "Hi, John. I thought to reach out to you because you seem to be within the FMCG, if this person is in the FMCG space. By the way, I am looking for the next opportunity. Perhaps I can help you fulfill some of your current vacancies." And then put 2 or 3 lines. I am experienced in sales for 13 years or 10 years. I have worked for brands such as Unilever, uh, Google, whatever. Put names that give impact and show that, oh, you're not anyone. You are somebody who can really help them if they are looking for people within this scope. And you have already identified by reading their profile. They will say, "I'm recruiting IT, I'm recruiting FMCG, I'm recruiting for sales." That's why. Now, when sending this message, say here, "I'm here to have a chat. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime. Kind regards." It's different than say, "Please help me get a job," right? You're basically saying, "What I have, could I be your product or not? And if so, please come back to me." Now, do not attach a CV, because attaching a CV is like going beyond already to level 2. No, let them come back to you. Let the recruiter say, "Wow, okay, I find this interesting. I saw your LinkedIn profile," because the LinkedIn profile will be a decision maker. Does it look appealing? Oh, I want to know more. Oh, in this case, send me the CV to this email or even here on LinkedIn. So this is really the way. But of course, I have to be frank. Reaching out to recruiters on LinkedIn, the maximum conversion usually it's 6% of the number of people you reach out, 2 to 6%. I have to be frank, right? But that's why quality first, but then consistency, volumes. I had clients that told me, "Oh, I reached out to 300, but then they get the best job in the world. right? So it's every day. It's like enjoy every day is a new day, right? But of course, don't stay stuck with recruiters. There is much more you can do to get your next job. And that's probably another conversation for the unpublished market. And how do we do that without needing recruiters? So I'm not sure if I answered all your questions, but please feel free to ask me anything else.
I think you did, and you gave even more insights on, again, a very complicated process of the job search. And wow, thank you so much, Isabelita. There are
My
pros and
pleasure.
cons on different sides and how you are looking at the situation. And I copy that. And second, what you said many, many times. Guys, have a look at this live. Join the session with Isabelita in Bevel ON capacity building program. There is a wealth of knowledge, as you might see from here. She is the super expert. And please have a look differently on the career path you are building. And there are so many different ways to succeed. And it's not that complicated. Just think differently about how you are approaching the recruiters online and offline as well. Isabelita, I appreciate a lot the time and the insight, and I will be
My
very
pleasure.
to hear more during your session in capacity building program.
I'm looking forward, really looking forward. Can't wait to see everybody join us for the workshop, and more than happy to be reached out as well on LinkedIn. So thank you for the opportunity
Thank
as well.
thank you.
My pleasure.